Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you find yourself today. I believe today we are blessed to have the presence of my dear friend. He's a very busy man, so if he is able to spend some time with you, it means you're blessed. Bro, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm doing
Great,
fantastic.
great, great,
How about
great.
yourself?
I am doing awesome. It's another beautiful day. I can't complain, man.
Same here, man. Same here.
It's
Same here.
always a pleasure to come on here to share and to discuss.
Yeah, I missed a few. I was in Ghana, so I missed a few of the meetings. But I'm glad I'm back
No problem. It's all on YouTube anyway, so if you miss any of them, you can go back on YouTube and
and watch it.
check it out. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Alrighty. Without much ado, we will start the Leadership Academy. I want to welcome all of you once again to Leadership Academy. And as you all know, we are talking about corruption in Africa, and we've spoken at length about corruption in Africa. But today we are going to take a different turn to look at what we can do as the people or the masses. What can we do to help in the fight against corruption? Before we jump on to the topic, today we're going to run quick. So before we jump onto the topic, as usual, I just want to repeat our statement that creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by the educated mind. Creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. And so if you want to create, if you want to invent, don't limit yourself thinking that because you are not a certain color or because you are not of a certain pigmentation, you cannot create or invent. Color does not create. As a matter of fact, the white man is no more of a human being than the black man. And the black man is no more of a human being than the white man. Genetically, biologically, we are all the same. The only thing that changes is the color of our skin. And so it takes an educated mind to create. So when sometimes in Ghana, for example, that's where I can speak to, we say, oh, kwasi broni when we see an invention, instead of saying, if you want to make a statement that the mind is powerful, it is not Kwesi Brony who did the invention. It is the mind that did the invention. There are even some Black inventors. You'll be amazed if you are exposed to some of this information, which we're going to be getting onto that some time later. But today we're going to be talking about a very, very important topic, our responsibility in the fight against corruption, especially as electorate. When we know 2024, it's going to be an election year. What is our responsibility as electorates going into the election year? What are we supposed to be doing to make sure that we contribute to the fight against corruption? The fight against corruption is not only to be fought by those in authority. We are all part of the fight. And so without much ado, I want us to introduce ourselves, and then we will jump straight into, we're going to be talking about some very interesting and very, 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 very educative information here. If you can share the link and ask as many people to come on board, it will be very, very important. But again, I want to throw the ball to my co-pilot who is ready. Introduce yourself, and then we jump onto the rest real quick.
Yeah, my name is Joe Frimpon as usual, and I represent AfroWeek. and settle together. And I would also like to say that corruption is not an African condition or dilemma. It is a human condition. And when we talk in everywhere else in the world, that's my opinion. So,
All right, Prof. Well, whilst you take some time, can you check your, I don't know if it's your positioning because you keep breaking in between. So if you can check that whilst we go on to, yeah, Kwame.
Hey, my name is Kwame Adomakubefi. I'm an avid listener and a supporter of AfriWork International. In any way, shape, or form I can help, I try to assist.
Alrighty. So I see Emmanuel Minka on board. So if you can please introduce yourself and.
Oh, okay. I'm Emmanuel Minka, as you rightly said, and this is my wife, Pearl Bampo Minka. Can you say hello today?
Hi.
Okay.
Mrs. on your right side. That's a powerful thing, bro.
Yeah, I have known Ziggy from far back in somewhere in 1990s.
Okay.
From Pankorono Estate.
Okay.
We also went to the same KNUST first degree. I did BSc Agri.
Okay.
And Ziggy did natural resources. But we happened to go on the same program to Canada.
Okay.
So that is where the relationship became stronger.
Wow.
And I think I remember about a week ago we spoke and he told me about your group and I said I'm doing agric and forestry. That's my background. I'm the scientific secretary of CSR Forestry Research Institute of Ghana. But my wife is an HR. He has been in HR at Bekwai municipality, and some years he was KMA HR, and currently she's at Oforikum. And she has been doing the leadership issue.
Okay.
So me myself, when it comes to afforestation, food processing, that's my thing.
Yeah,
But
it's all part of leadership, though.
Yeah, it's all part of leadership. Yeah, and I find myself in so many leadership positions. So I know, but I don't want to say too much. I want her to speak for herself.
Okay.
So
all right,
Hi.
Mrs.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Pearl Bampo Minkas. He rightly said I'm the HR for Foriko Municipal Assembly, and then much interested in the leadership aspects, as he rightly said. So I believe that joining your team and then following your discussion, I believe that I will be very fruitful. So I'm standing by and then hoping to chip in here one thing or the other from time to time. So I'll be here.
Awesome. You're all welcome to Leadership Academy.
Right.
Prof, I don't know if you had something to say because I saw you unmute yourself.
I was saying that, you see, when we talk about leadership and some people don't understand, I had that conversation last week. I gave Iman the link less than 2 hours ago and he was on time. That is enough for me,
Yeah.
because from our side of the world, time is not of essence. So I'm happy to be on board and see Mrs. I remember all the food that I've been eating in your house. So that's leadership.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So we all welcome to Leadership Academy. And today, as I said, we are taking a different turn from the usual corruption topic we started a few weeks ago. And today we're going to look at our part, our responsibility. I just want to introduce a little bit of our definition of our responsibility. Responsibility is it means we are responding according to our ability, according to our gifts. So we're responding according to our gifts. What is your gift? What do you have to respond to? And so today, as we are looking at our responsibility when it comes to the fight against corruption, we'll be looking at what the electorate, I don't know why I keep leaving the electorates out, but that's a topic for the day.
Okay.
Understanding our responsibility as electorates in the fight against corruption. And since democracy is being introduced, or it's being practiced, let me put it that way, it's being practiced in most of the African countries, we cannot take away the elections, which is part of the kind of democracy we have introduced. So we as electorates, what is going to be our responsibility? And if we are going to look at the responsibility of the electorate, then we must know what we are going to the polls to look for or to choose. Prior to going to the polls, we have to be listening to debates and all that and looking out for characters and figures we are going to be giving our mandates to take decisions on our behalf. That is one thing we, the electorates, would have to understand, that these are not big men we are going to vote for. These are people we are employing to do work on our behalf. In other words, we are giving them our power, or we're giving them our mandate to take decisions on our behalf. So if A has certain policies, which I think it's going to help in the development of the country or in the development of the people, then I'm going to support A or Team A to be able, because that is the idea I have, or that is the future I have envisaged. And so all of us cannot be in positions of power to make decisions. So then if I can align my ideas with that of Team A, then I'm going to give him my mandate to go into power to make decisions, which happens to be part of my idea, because I'm also thinking the same way he's thinking. So we're going to be looking at leadership. And that is the problem of our continent. I was talking to one of my nephews this morning, and we were talking about the fact that how come the richest endowed continent in the world, hands down, happens to be the poorest? It is not bad luck. It is not curses. It is nothing spiritual, quote in quotes, but it's lack of our understanding of leadership. And so the moment we talk about leadership, people think of position, people think of power, people even think of influence. But the core ingredient or the core definition of leadership is left out. And so we're going to start looking at leadership, then we will know who a leader is. So when we are going out there looking for people to represent us, then we are going to look for leaders to represent us. We're not going to look for politicians to represent us. I hear people talk about the fact that politics is a dirty game. And I believe it's a very big mistake we make with that statement, because this is an institution that is taking decisions on our behalf. This is an institution that is deciding our future and the future of generations to come. How can that be dirty? But the difference is that the institution has been left in the hands of dirty people, so they play dirty politics. And so this is about time that we don't need politicians in our offices, but we need leaders in politics. They're two different things. There are leaders in every profession. You know, we have police officers, and then we have leaders in the police department. We have the military, and we have leaders in military. We have a Greek department, and we have leaders in a Greek department. And so when we talk about leadership, when we define leadership, then we would understand that it has nothing to do with position. It has nothing to do even with influence. Influence is an aftermath. It is not the definition of leadership. It is a fruit of leadership. Let me put it that way. So leadership is a gift for service. That is the short form of leadership. It's a gift for service. So if you take gift out of it, you have no leadership. If you take service out of it, you have no leadership. And so as we are looking at people who are going to represent us, first of all, let's ask, do they have a gift? And if they have a gift, well, let me go back. Let me backtrack on the definition of leadership. It's gift developed to be served. That is leadership. So if you have a gift and it's been developed and you're ready to serve, then we can find leadership at play. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, we don't have leadership on our continent. We have politicians, yes. We have managers or political managers, yes. But leadership is not at play. And leadership has nothing to do with leading a people. Leadership is different from leading a people. Leadership is a gift developed and being in service. When you develop a gift and you serve it to your community, that is leadership. And so I'm going to pause here and we will chip in if we have any questions, contributions, what have you. We will go ahead and do that. Whilst we're chipping in and talking, I'll quickly jump on Facebook and see what's going on Facebook. And if there are any questions or any contributions, I will bring them on board as well. So, Prof, over to you.
You've said a lot, which has always been the paradigm of Africa when it comes to leadership. But when we're talking about the electorate and their take on leadership and corruption, the first question that I always ask myself is whether the electorate on the African continent, Ghana in particular, have been taught or they have been educated on their own responsibilities as citizens when it comes to this fight against corruption. The reason why I'm saying this is because when it comes to popular democracy, the concept is that we put people in place by voting for them based on their abilities, their leadership skills, their track record. And then after a time, we can reassess whether they've been able to do what we asked them to do. And if they did what we asked them to do, or the greater part of what we expect them to do, reward them with another term of service so that they come in more for us. And if not, we put them aside and we put somebody else in place. This is the ideal of democracy. We be able to educate the electorate on this ideal so that when you go to the polls, they are actually choosing based on expectations, but not based on political affiliation, tribal affiliation, religious affiliation, and all these other aspects of life that comes into play in our political arena. So for me, that is the first question we need to ask ourselves. Is the electorate cognizant of their responsibilities when it comes to choosing their own leaders? And if they were, would we be at the place that we are today when it comes to political corruption on our continent? Thank you.
Anybody wants to take up the question whether the electorate is educated enough to know what they're looking for?
I think I can guess. I can guess to it as to that question. The answer to that question to me simply is a no. If you ask me, because if you consider I didn't even know that the illiteracy level in Ghana was that high until quite recently. I found out like the numbers, and I was astonished as to how many people are actually illiterate. Like I'm not even talking about high school education. Like it's even less than that. I'm talking about like very, very, very poor numbers. So I would say the answer to that is as simple as simply a no. And I think that's where most of our issues stem from, because I hear stories like, it's just a simple bag of rice can buy somebody's vote, which is, to me, it's ridiculous to hear. But apparently that goes on still even now to date. I guess that's all I have to say for now. I have other things to say, but I'll just leave the floor open for some other opinions.
Yeah.
Okay. If I may, I believe
Sure.
that the answer is still a no. I am in support of what Kwame just said. A lot of people don't know and even understand what it takes to even govern. All they think about is, I'm affiliated to this particular political party. No matter what goes on, I'm still a member of this particular party. They don't really understand what really goes into even the policies and the programs outlined as a political party. And because of that, the issues of social accountability that we're supposed to look for in our leaders, we are not looking for it. But we are rather just riding on the back of being a member of a party. And because of that, we also get embedded in the corrupt acts. So if we're able to disassociate ourselves from the politics itself and rather focus on the social accountability aspect of it, it would be easier to more or less refuse some of these corrupt practices. Let me give an instance, like the bag of rice he just mentioned. So if someone brings a bag of rice to you and then you know that the person is trying to buy your vote instead of trying to provide the service he's supposed to provide, then you know that that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who is going to actually do something better for the country and not for me as an individual. Many a times we see a lot of people, sorry, yeah. Many
It's
times
okay.
we see um, a lot of people going into following political parties because, let's say, my uncle is a member of this particular party. I know that once my uncle gets elected into power, I may be able to get so and so and so. Not necessarily because generally I know my uncle is a very good person who is going to do things to the betterment of the country, but because of my personal gains. So the political will is a I give you a bribe and you don't take it. It ends there. I can't buy your vote. But once the citizens are still taking whatever is being offered them, the race still goes on and on and on. But if the people were literate enough about these things, they will be able to, read in between the lines to know that this thing the person is giving me, after all, after a little while, after the person is elected, you don't even get to see the person anymore. You don't see the person until the next election. And then so the potholes are still there, the issues are still there, and the rat race is still the same thing. At the end of the day, after the 4 years, the person will still come back. So the education hasn't really gone down well. And I don't think that's it's really necessary to have everybody being up there, let's say after high school level, to even understand some of these things. Market women or people who are down, 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 who do not even understand, basic um, English language, can even understand what it means to get food on the table. So the education hasn't gone that well. So that's my take, actually.
Let me come in. I will sound very controversial, but
We need that.
that
We
is
need that.
that is me. So many years ago, I would say no, but now the current youth I would say a bit of yes. Now the current youth are becoming a bit discerning, and they have realized that the leadership have taken advantage of them and have not used their resources well. They realize that previously they gave their votes to them, and unfortunately they are not been able to do the things that they were expecting them to do. They rather saw that the individual MPs and the politicians, their families are changing. Their wives are rather traveling to US and UK, and their kids are not even schooling here. So currently the youth are now changing. So we are seeing these things rather in the cities more. Previously, I'll agree with you because somewhere in the, let's say, 2006, 8 there, people bring a bag of rice and they vote for people. Now the current youth now see that the rice, the monies are theirs, you bring it, they will take it, but they will not vote for you. That is the dynamics now. But the rate of change is not fast. That is what we are not seeing. That is
So, if I may ask, does it mean that it's just a minute percentage of the youth who've understood this?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is why the change is not being seen.
It's not too significant.
Okay, so then I also want to be controversial to say that then the answer is still no. Because if just a minute percentage.
That is why when statistics, when it's not significant, it's no.
Right.
But gradually, I'm seeing the change.
Okay.
Now in Ghana here, the youth are lobbying for a third force.
Okay.
But unfortunately, we are not able to get any. They have realized that the MPP and DC have deceived us with time. They are too, especially even the MPP youth. What is going on currently here? People have now think we should get an alternative and see. So now I agree with you. It's still no, but there's a dynamism.
Okay.
And I know that it will change with time.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
It will change with time. Yeah. So I'll leave it here.
Definitely. Sure. Can I please
say something? I think that what he's saying is true though, but I'm thinking that now what is looking like currently is rather they are bidding higher. So they're not settling for the rice anymore. They're asking for bigger things.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
Okay, that's an interesting dynamics introduced into the discussion. I like that. And it's coming from a husband and a wife. Whoa. That is beautiful.
That is true. Now
so
they are not going
if I understand or if I understood what you said, it means no, we no longer want rice, but maybe a car.
For bigger things. Yeah.
Okay.
So now, I mean, it's not so much of a secret, but during their elections at the primaries level, we all hear about these things. So previously, you could go and give someone a piece of cloth with say 200 Ghana cedis. Now they are not taking that anymore. They are taking 5,000, 10,000 before they vote. So it's a matter of, bidding higher.
That is also true. Let me come in. But there are few minorities who are absolutely, they are rejecting the thing.
Okay.
They will say, I think you can lead. So even when you give me 10,000, I'm not going to take.
Right.
I've seen some few people at the prime, they say they will not take anything because they want to make a difference. But unfortunately, those people are very few. You don't get, and it's coming. A day will come, people will have a lot of money. People, they will not take. It's just a matter of time. Now they want the youth now want to take their lives into their own hands. It makes sure that when they give you opportunity to lead, you do it. They don't expect 100% performance, but at least something that shows that you think about the youth, you care about their future, and you are willing to do something. They will give you more. But sometimes you realize that a person comes around at the end of election, you call him, he does not pick. He doesn't even mind you. And the next 4 years, he comes again with all these fine gifts and other things. They say, no, take your gifts away. We are not interested. We know who you are. At the end of the election, you will go and you will see you another 4 years. And some people are actually putting their foot down and say no to some people. But that is why I say the numbers are not too huge, so you don't see it. That is what I can say.
Wow. This speaks to the fact that we all have a responsibility. We all need to educate within our small circles, be able to educate the people that are within our small circles. One of the things Afriwick believes in is to start the education at a very tender age, very young age, where we imbibe those principles and values into them, because one of the things we've also realized is a lack of understanding of principles. People don't even live their lives by principles anymore. So it's about instant gratification, what I can get now, and they don't even think about what is going to happen to the next person. One of the Dr. King's quotes that radically changed my perspective of things is when he was talking about the Good Samaritan. And he said, everybody who passed by was asking, if I start to help this man, what is going to happen to me? Because they might even be thinking it's a ploy. People might have been hiding in the bushes, waiting to ambush other people. But according to Dr. King, he said the Good Samaritan got to the place and he reversed the question. And he said, if I don't stop to help this man, not what will happen to me, but what will happen to him. And these are the kinds of people we are looking for. Because obviously this person has a certain principle guiding his life. And the principle is not about him. The principle is about them. And so that is the perception we want to create in the youth, the younger generation, to understand what leadership is and how they can use leadership as a gift, a developed gift to serve and bring a change within their community. Prof, I realize you've unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I was coming in at the angle from where Emmanuel is coming from to show the nuance of the situation. Democracy is supposed to have a gestation period of 25 to 30 years. We passed that stage. So we have to look at this phenomenon as knowing how to bait the hook according to the fish. And that's why.
So you're talking about multi-party democracy.
Yes, supposed to have gestation period 25, 30 years. So by now, we should be expecting that the electorate understand the concept of what they are expected to do. So even if you have 20% of the people accepting rice and gari, that is a no-no. Because at this point, when democracy started in Africa, started in Ghana, people were accepting money and other things to vote. It was okay. We were in the infantile stages. We passed the 30-year mark by now.
So, Prof, if I may ask, are you blaming the electorate or you're blaming the people in power? Because my thing is, if nobody creates the environment for the education, how will the electorate?
I'm not blaming either the electorate or the people in power for what is going on. I am saying that we have not created the condition for the people to be educated. The national whatever on civic education is not even funded. What I'm trying to say is this: the political elite, they know the playground, they know the environment. And unless the electorate educate themselves, the political elite will play us for fools ad infinitum. That's what I'm trying to say.
So what you're saying is they're deliberately leaving the electorate in the dark so they can have their field.
It is deliberate. We have perfected the system of solving societal problems individually. The school system is bad, I'll take my kids to private school. The roads are bad, I'll buy an SUV. That kind of mentality is what is in Ghana, especially, and on the whole African continent. And the political managers, they know this. So they will wait. 4 years, you bid higher, they will pay, knowing perfectly well that they have a way of repaying themselves whatever money they have given to you. So the question is the electorate, me and you, are we going to sit down and continue this mirage that we call politics? Are we going to sit down and let it continue? On the other hand, I agree with Emmanuel. I've seen a whole lot of people talking about the third force, something to counterbalance what the NDC and the NPP do. And probably this is going on in Zambia, this is going on in Nigeria, this is going on in Kenya, this is definitely going on in South Africa. You see these guys talking as if the ANC doesn't even exist. But do we have the time to wait for the numbers to go up? Or do we have to empower individuals and organizations like AfriWIC to go out there and be able to educate these people and say, you know something? If they give you 40 Ghana cedis so that you vote for them, they will take 400 billion cedis for themselves. Is it worth it? So that people will start looking at it in the context of what an individual can do as a leader, irrespective of whether the person gave you something before you voted for him.
So my issue is even that the fact that he gave me some to vote for you disqualifies you in the first place. It tells me you have nothing to bring on board. Because if you have to pay for me to give you my mandate, it means you have nothing to bring on board. It means you have an agenda for yourself. So you are paying your way to amass, or let me not even sugarcoat the words, to steal from us. Basically, that's what it is. And it's unfortunate that our political managers are not, they don't even show any interest. I'm digressing a little bit based on the High Court judgment that was passed yesterday. I mean, I was thinking about it and I'm like, if it's in a place like the United States, where the life of an individual is at stake, the life of an individual who is trying to contribute to the development of the nation is at stake, and the judge does not care, he cares less about your life. Taking into consideration, a partner of this guy has been murdered, and the issue has not even been resolved. And you want this guy to expose himself again for another murder? You know, so it tells me the politicians and the political managers don't even have the will to do the right thing. And even some of the elders within our community, did I say elders? Some of the older people within our community are supporting some of these. It's crazy, and it's serious. We really need to let the education start from our little corners and be able to spread it out for people to understand what they are looking for, what they need to do. We don't condone That is why we believe that the education is very important. I go on social media and I hear people talking about, oh yes, we're sitting on a time bomb, and if the youth, if it explodes, the youth, no, I mean, there's no need for an explosion. An explosion is going to set us back.
Back,
And
yeah.
explosion is not going to fix nothing. I mean, if a people rise up in anger, they don't fix nothing. They create more chaos and mayhem.
Yeah.
So we need to take the issue of educating our peers, our environment, wherever we find ourselves, very serious. And I'm glad we have social media.
Yeah.
If the government and the people in politics are not going to do it, we can use social media to do it. And the typical example is what we are saying here can be pushed on our social media platforms. Share it amongst the youth and let the information go as far as it can go to educate the people that we don't need the bag of rice. We don't even need a car. I don't care what they give to you. The fact that the person comes to you with something alone disqualifies the person. It means you have nothing to give me, to give to my future. You have something to give to my present situation, but you have nothing to give to my future. And leadership is not about the now. Leadership is about the future. It's generational. So if somebody comes and he's giving you something now to satisfy your hunger, but is not giving you anything for the future, that person has nothing. It means that person is empty. He has nothing to offer you. Kwame, you unmuted yourself. Okay. Go ahead.
Let me come in and say something. I come from, and I belong to my primary school, middle school platform. And about 6 days ago, they put a video on the platform, very happy about a resurfacing of our roads that was going on in Kumau Bistro, Bodmasi, Kumau Self, a lot of the other smaller towns. And people were happy, but you know me, I was just watching the video and thinking in my head. Then 3-4 days ago, I started seeing other videos circulating, you know, and I never knew there was a by-elections going on. And I just found out, I started putting the dots together, and I called a few friends and they are saying that, oh, the people are really serious because there's a by-election going on, and they are resurfacing the roads, and they are putting in a lot of things that have been promised years, and now they are putting them in because there is the possibility that they are going to lose the elections, and that's what they are doing. And I went back to my platform and I put it on the platform that I am praying that every year 200 MPs die so that there is a by-election. Don't laugh, I'm serious. I am very
that is not going to solve the problem. If they die, the people are going to elect another politician in place.
Before they do a by-election, they will put a lot of practical developmental things in place because they want to win the by-election. And we will develop our continent by that, by the blood of the dead MPs. If that's what they want to do, because right now, what they are trying to tell us is that it is only when there is an election that they want to do the right thing. They are talking to this old lady who knows nothing about GDP or whatever, and giving her rights and saying, when you go, we are at the top. And why will you do that? Why will you do that? We need to let people understand that, like you said, anybody that comes to you with a gift when there is an election has nothing to offer. All these problems were constant problems in the community before the MP died. And now you are fixing the problems simply because you want to win an election. So, my good friend Emmanuel, the numbers that are calling for a third force is a very good sign, but it is slow because the political elite, they understand the game.
They know how to bait the hook according to the fish. And unless the fish change its tactics, it is always going to be caught in the hook. So yes, we need a third force, and yes, we need proper leadership in Ghana. But what is our contribution as individual citizens and as an electorate? Most often than not, all we do is say we won't vote. The system is corrupt, the system is biased, the system is this and that, and so we will not vote, which is fair. But then democracy works on the principle of those who get higher numbers. So if you don't vote, somebody who collected the rights might go and vote for the wrong person. And then the wrong person will come back and repeat the same cycle. So please, like we are saying, we need to go out there. We need to let people understand that the issue is not a gift that you can give me today. The issue is what qualities are you bringing into this office? What are the gifts that you have that you want to serve to this community? So that next 4 years, I can hold you to your gifts and to the service that you say you are going to serve to the community. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Prof. Just before we continue, I just want to chip in this. When you made mention of the construction of the roads, one of the things we're going to be discussing thoroughly is the role of the MPs. That is another misconstrued. It's sad when, like you're saying, it's good to build KVIPs, whatever, all these constructions going on. That's fine. But the major and the first role of the MP or the member of parliament is to go make laws. That is the first role. And so what laws are you in parliament making, or what laws are you fighting for to be made that will help the people? So I'm just chipping that in there. It's part of the things we're going to be discussing, because we want to educate the masses to the point that those who would come across our videos will know exactly what they are looking for when it's time for them to go to the polls, or even when they do the town hall meetings, the kind of questions they should be asking. We're going to be discussing all of that here, because as we said, if we are just, like Prof rightly said, the impact is really slow, but then we can do nothing about it but to keep pushing the message out there to educate the people, to be able to broaden the impact of the enlightenment that's going on. So these are some of the things we're going to be discussing. I threw that in there so that those of you who would love, or who loves to do research, will be doing some research into some of this. I believe there was a video I saw on Facebook. I'm not too sure where I saw that video, of a British parliamentarian who resigned because he was late. And his reason was that they were discussing his constituency at that time when he was absent in parliament. And he believes that his input in making those laws to help his constituency was very paramount. And so for him being absent, he's let down his people. So he chose to resign, even though later he was talked into coming back, which he did. But that principle alone tells you this is somebody who understands his role in parliament, not just to go sit and respond, yeah, or fight. Anyway, Kwame, I realize you unmuted yourself.
Yes, I did. I just wanted to put out, I just wanted to say that I have some faith on the continent, on the African continent in general, just based on a few things that I've heard, as far as the population being one of the youngest, like population growing, like population in the world, that
the youngest population in the world.
And the younger generation, I have faith in younger people as opposed to older people. Hopefully the younger generation will be able to have different value systems, and so with the advent of and with things with the advent of like, cell phones, everybody has like a cell phone in their hands and everything like that. So information can be easily spread out to them quite quickly. So overall I have faith on the continent, but as far as how quickly things are gonna change, that I don't know. But I'm just gonna say that overall I hope that things get better, not worse, for the continent. And so that's about what I wanted to say with that.
Yeah, just to speak to the issue of the cell phones, yes, it's that is some hope, but then you've realized that the social media. Let me put it this way: those in power have created a certain environment which is not helping the youth to learn the right things with the advent of social media.
I agree.
See, they have created an environment of affluence equals success in life. And that is what they have portrayed. They've infused into the minds of the youth. And so what they are doing on the social media, majority of them, guess what? If we put look at the number of people on our platform. How many times have we advertised programs for the youth, educative programs, and what have you? We can push and push and push. Just this morning, I pushed over 100 of our links to various platforms. But let me put a link of some sort of stupidity on a platform. You will see how many people will rush to that link, especially the youth. So that is where we need to devise a strategy to be able to interrupt the craziness going on social media. I just want to throw that in there.
And let me add this. China does not allow a lot of the things you see on TikTok in China. And TikTok was created by China.
Yep.
But they will not allow the stupid videos that you see, a lot of them. For Chinese consumers, TikTok is an educative app. For the American consumer, TikTok is for stupidity. And the African consumer is taking it up in a way that you will not believe. I don't have TikTok for that reason. There are states in the US that have banned TikTok on their national, and some states have started banning it on private phones. If you live in the state, you cannot download TikTok. But come to Ghana, I don't want to mention it. You go to some so-called influencers page and they are twerking and being naked, you see the amount of people on there. So yes, I have a lot of faith in the youth, but I have a lot more faith in education. I'm not talking about reading. I'm talking about educating people to understand concepts. That's what I have a lot of faith. Because 40 years ago, we were having this conversation that by the time we get to our 50s, Ghana will be dead. But it's not. I remember the first time I voted and felt so empowered. But right now, I'm disillusioned, to tell you the truth. Because if people can still look, you are going to elect a flag bearer of a whole major political party, and you have to be paid for it.
What's this?
And even that 40 benefits, you have to fight it. What faith that have in you choosing the right person when it is what that is making you choose somebody?
Right.
And it's my fault. So that's why individuals like you, organizations that do not have
a vested interest in the political process should be doing a lot more jobs than waiting for the political elite to do this job. Because the political elite, they are already started. They understand the game. Believe they do. Before somebody becomes an MP in Ghana, he knows the deal.
Yeah.
So we should not wait for them to be doing it. If we want to see a continent which is
Our time is far spent. We have a lot to cover. I know this is going to span like weeks, so I would encourage ourselves to push. I'm going to be creating the links
Okay.
maybe a day or two. But the flyers, we have the flyers on Facebook, and I'm going to be pushing that out so we can spread the message and invite more people, especially the youth. I mean, our heart is with the youth, because if we cannot get the youth, we can't break the cycle. The cycle is going to continue until we are able to get to the mindset of the youth, for them to begin to think differently. And that is the agenda of AfriWeek. AfriWeek itself means an African with a changed mentality. So we are trying to target the mentality or the mindset of the youth, for them to think differently, to use that which is between their ears, because it was there for a purpose, for them to understand that when you process, when you keep on processing stuff within that thing, it helps you to come up with solutions. So I'm really going to beg of all of us to push some of these links to various platforms, so we can invite as many people, especially the youth, to some of these discussions, because it's something which is dear to the heart of AfriWeek. You'll be amazed at the kind of impediments that they put in our ways when we're trying to get to the youth. You know, we're trying to get to the schools, especially in Ghana, to be able to help educate the youth on leadership, and impediments are put in our ways. I remember one of the schools, just when we were trying to get hold of the students and we were denied, an institution was given access to perform a beauty pageant in the school. It's ridiculous, and it's sad. You know, so please, we're going to just give the opportunity for everybody to do the final presentation before we draw the curtains down. So if you're ready with your final submission, you can go ahead.
Yeah. I'd like to say that with everything that you've spoken about concerning the youth, I remember during the opening statements you mentioned something. You said something about inculcating certain values and principles into children. The youth currently, I don't want to say that I have hope in the youth, but then looking at the way, like Prof. rightly said, the way the politicians have made the youth, now the youth looks at the politicians and want to be like them. That's what I see. So I would rather say that we should also focus, whilst you're looking at the youth, we should also focus on the little ones, the children, and then putting some patriotism in our children. The spirit of patriotism is lost in the country, and that is where the whole thing is. The problem is coming from. Nobody really believes in Ghana as we used to believe in Ghana. I will say that for myself because I can say that in 2006 thereabout, when I hear people saying they're traveling out of the country, I would say stay in Ghana. Ghana is going to work. But now, if you tell me you want to go outside, I'll tell you leave. You can go. And a lot of them are getting out of the country because it's like the future looks a little bleak here. So if you can focus on getting back the patriotism that was there in the young ones, and then as well as work on the youth as we are trying to do, it would help us. Thank you.
I remember when we were growing up back in Ghana in the schools, we used to sing songs like Land of Our Birth, we pledge to thee, our love and toil in the years to be, and when we are grown and take our place as men and women. I mean, this song, I sing it every day, even up to now. You know, these are things that fuel some of us to be wanting to do something for the country. So the issue about patriotism, you're right on spot. We really need to rekindle that. And talking about the kids, yes. We say time and time again on this platform that we have to target them at a very tender age, very early age. You know, even before they start understanding certain basic things, we need to imbibe certain principles into them so they can grow with it and be able to think differently from the generations ahead of them. Anyway, let's keep on going with the final submissions.
My submission is that the social media is a very powerful tool. Now the youth are always on the social media, so you should take advantage of that and use to educate them. I think the more we hammer, we might not get everybody, but we'll get the majority. That will make a difference. Now, what we need is the majority of the youth that will be able to change the system for us. Some years ago, I will also be thinking that it will take time, but now I can see that the change will be faster than I thought.
I believe
Because,
that.
oh yeah, because now the average youth that I find on the street wants to see a difference in or his or her life, and they are yelling for it. So our help, our education, our, let's say, encouragement will help them to move to the right direction. And I think they will, within the shortest possible time, there will be a difference. There will be a difference. I believe strongly that now when you speak one on one with most of them, they think the older folks have disappointed them, and they wish that there will be a change in their lifestyle, the way they live. They think that if they have putting some things in their right perspective, the kind of suffering we are getting, the youth are going through now, will not be there. Most of the graduates think that probably if things were put in right perspective, the problem when they finish with they are going through, even on campus, because they have heard a lot that during Chroma time people were enjoying at the university, sleeping in a room, and now when you go to the university, some are sleeping 4 and even 5, 6, a lot of patches, and the hostels are very expensive. You can't go in, so they see it as a leadership failure. And if we have a good leaders, things should have been put right, that even if there will be a lot of problems or challenges, it will not be as we are seeing now. And they are thinking different now because of the things they are going through now. It has forced them to think. Sometimes when you have, let's say when you were going to school, boarding school, yes, we see a son. Now I didn't say a day. Yes, son. Like when you see a son, no, we need it. Was if you eat 10 cedis a day, you realize the money is getting finished. Then you come to 5, you get to 2. Make sure you reserve some. You make sure you buy and you eat, or you not leave some. I hope you understand.
Right.
So now the kind of things the youth are going through, majority are thinking differently. They think it's a leadership problem, and the leadership has failed them, and they should do something different. And I think with the kind of education we are putting on social media, we will not get everybody, but some will pick. And I think we can make a difference and things will change. I'll leave it like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I was going to add the issue of leadership, but you added it to the tail end of it when we're talking about change coming soon. And that change can be quick. It will be quick if you have leadership in place. And yes, so that is why we need to interrupt the social media nonsense with some of this education, so that they would even know who or what they are looking for if they are going to choose, so they choose rightly. Else, it's going to be choosing from the lesser evil to the lesser evil, which is still not going to help. You know, so thank you so much. That is a valid point. All right, Prof. Kwame.
I think I agree with like most of what Mr. Emmanuel said. So we have I think on the continent of Africa we have we have macro issues and micro issues, and I think right now we should just focus on the micro issues on the personal level. So that's what we're doing, and I think with the advent of social media, and we can go a long way by educating like the youth the way I guess we want them to behave and understand things and grasp like different concepts for the for the continent. So I think that's about where I'll leave it for now. We can continue this conversation next week.
Thank you, Mr. Kwame. Bafi. Hi, Prof.
Well, our time is fast spent, and yes, I believe education changes minds, and we should continue to educate the youth, and we should continue to demand that our leaders change the way they do the things they do. Otherwise, the change will come eventually, but we don't have time to waste, and we don't have the option of moving at a snail's pace. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Prof. All right. So next week, we're going to be looking at the qualities of leadership. So the people will know what they should be looking out for. When they see this, they should know this is leadership. When they see that, they know this is
not leadership.
Politician. All right. I want to thank everybody for your time. This has been an interesting discussion on Leadership Academy. My name is Nana Osei Bonsu Jr. of AfriWIC International Organization. And next week, we're going to continue this discussion. We employ each and every one of us to be able to share the links and invite more, especially of the youth, to this discussion. So we would have a very interesting discussion and a very educative discussion as we move along. Thank you so much for your time one more time. And we'll meet again next week, same time. Be good.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Guys, don't go away yet. Let him take us off Facebook.
So, Prof, do you want us to have the meeting on this platform?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, okay. So then, Kwame, you can drop off.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We are not on Facebook because I had a Timika Casa.
Oh, you know what? We'll probably.
Let's all get off and come back on.
Yeah. Let's get off. Let me create a quick link where we can come back on.
Okay.
Alrighty.